Part 1, I left with Nathan behind me, machete in hand, me trying to reach the centre of Hawkhurst. I still believed I was doing the right thing, but by the time I crossed the road, something had begun to change. Because wanting to help someone and believing that you're the person who can save them are not necessarily the same thing. Yet, as I crossed the road, slipping in my own blood, Julie began to look dangerously at vanity. Wanting to make world better did not mean I understood how to do it. This is something I didn't understand at the time. I headed towards Hawkhurst Library, hoping to find sanctuary. Plastic sheets surrounded the construction of a new supermarket, forced me through the broad alley streets and the old industrial estate. The road beyond led out of Hawkers, but I did not want to leave the only place that still felt remotely safe, even remotely safe. At the corner of the obstacle that was the steelworks, I realized I could no longer hear Nathan intermittently behind me. His screams had travelled through the village, but for a moment I had gained ground. I could not hear him. I made for my friend's house out beside the pub. Only when I reached it did I remember that he was spending his night with his girlfriend. It was approaching 2 in the morning, and the howl of rage split the silence. I turned toward the sound. Nathan had found me. He came pounding across the road beneath the colonnade. I hesitated. He would reach me in seconds. There was only one place left to hide. The derelict Catholic church down the alley beneath the industrial estate. In front of the front forced to face the road, but I remembered the way in the back. Fortunately enough, I remembered the structure of Hawkhurst. That was very fortunate in regards to myself and what I was doing at the time. It had been a rescue to Catholics. The irony is difficult to miss. I forced my way through the thick trees and brambles, leaving splashes of blood across the greenery completely. Nathan was now calling my name again, wondering where I had gone. I knew he would work it out in the end. I knew it. He had such an instinct for these things, especially in his state. My crimson fingers closed around the top of the gravestone. Only did I realize that I'd merged into the cemetery behind the church. The section of grounds had been cordoned off, while the blue plastic wire I pulled loose and stretched low between the two gravestones. It was a crude tripwire, but it was all I had. Nathan rushed around the other pillar of the church. He hit the wire that eventually fell, striking his head against a wet piece of oak left on the ground after the previous night's rain. For a moment, everything was silent. It stopped. Everything stopped just for a moment. I rose with what strength I had left, blood still pouring from my nose, and checked his pulse. He was alive. I felt dead. For 2 days, I tried to convince myself that the whole episode was over. Then the telephone rang. It was Nathan's mother. There was no anger in her voice, only exhaustion. She knew what had happened. She didn't try to excuse it, nor did she deny how close her son had come to killing me. She asked only one thing. I could do everything in my power to keep him away from the police. Now, as I listened, I realized she was asking was the impossible. I then considered it. I considered everything that I could possibly do. Only days earlier had I promised to help her son rebuild his life. Now she was asking me to protect him from the consequences of trying to end mine. When the conversation ended, I sat in silence for a long time. Looking back now, it isn't the chase that stays with me. It isn't a telephone call 2 days later. Fear fades. Blood washes away. Even trauma softens around the edges. That night taught me something that I have never forgotten. Good intentions are not a substitute for judgment. Compassion without wisdom can be dangerous, not only for the person you're trying to help, but for you. Give us a good clicking.
Shakanaka.